As we approach the end of summer, tropical container plants are at their peak performance, reaching impressive sizes. But what should you do with them in the fall and winter? Well, Cathy Testa is a professional garden designer who specializes in container gardening and is here with some simple tips for storing them. Welcome back, Cathy.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
You brought some pretty impressive plants with you today.
Yes, I did. I took some cuttings from home, and what I love about tropical plants is they reach really huge sizes. This is an elephant ear. It's called Colocasia Maui Magic, and you can see this leaf stalk, which is called the petiole, reaches 3 feet long in your container, and the leaves can reach up to 2 feet wide. Really impressive. This also shows you the lush, large foliage you can get from tropical plants.
It's like we're in a rainforest right here in the studio.
Right. You can create an exotic vacation right in your backyard or on your patio with these huge plants, and this is a red banana that gets 5-foot long leaves. So tropical plants in container gardens are what we call the thrillers. They're really showy, large foliage, and they thrive from May into September. But the great news is you can store them every year.
You can keep reusing them? They're not going to die on you?
Exactly.
Wow.
You store them through their underground storage organs, and I'll show you how to do that. And you can reuse them every year, so you save money. You're not rebuying them.
Wow.
And you increase your investment because a lot of them can be divided through the underground storage organ. And I'd like to show you how.
What should we do with these?
So we can put
them
those
over
to the side. Okay, so I like to talk about the big three, and that's canna plants, elephant ears, and banana plants. Now, this is a canna plant. It's a little bit small because it wasn't transplanted into a large container garden. So the first step is you want to cut back the foliage.
I would feel bad cutting this though, Cathy.
I know, it's a little bit tough. You also want to do this in the fall after the plant has been hit by a very light frost. So sometime in October, you're going to get hit by a light frost. But with that said, I don't always wait for the light frost. I just pick a cool autumn day when it's beautiful outside, but it's cold enough to wear a sweatshirt and gloves, and I get to work. So let's cut back this foliage, and you can use these loppers. I like the loppers. A lopper, or these shears, because you can.
Are you sure you want me to do this?
Yes. Okay, so yes, you can do it. At first it seems a little intimidating, and that's why people are afraid to do it. So just cut it back about 2 to 3 inches from the base, and we're going to remove all that foliage in the fall.
Oh.
Yeah, so once... I know it feels a little bit like you're killing the plant.
But you're not, right?
But you're not, because we're going to show you how you can find this underground storage stem right here. So step 1 is cutting back all the foliage. So if you could just move that.
Sure.
Step 2 is removing the root ball from your container garden. And this is a smaller one, as I said earlier. And here's a tool that I like to use.
Is that a machete? What is that?
It is called a hori-hori knife. It's a Japanese weeding knife. I know, it's pretty heavy duty.
It is.
Which is really great because you can cut away the foliage, the base of the soil. So once you get the root ball removed from your container garden, cut away the base of this soil.
So this was together?
This was all together. And I wanted to show you for demo purposes. We cut this away with this hori-hori knife. And you want to do it about 5 or 6 inches from the top of the soil. So this rhizome, this underground storage organ, is pretty much sitting right here in the soil. You do not want to damage this.
Because that's what you need to store, right?
This is what we're going to store. So after you cut away all the soil, excuse me, bless you, you want to remove the rest of the soil, and you can do this 1 of 3 ways. Just using your hands to pull away all that soil. You can use a soft brush to kind of clean it up. But one of the easiest ways is to use a garden hose and to hose it down until you get all the soil removed. So we can put that aside. Now, once you get all the soil removed, and this kind of shows you, this is a Canna indica red stripe with beautiful plum foliage. And the rhizome is at the base. We cut this away. You're going to locate rhizomes. That's R-H-I-Z-O-M-E. And this is where the roots and the growing points grow from. So once you locate this, clean it off. Air dry it on your driveway for a couple hours because you don't want to put this away when it's soaking wet. It could rot.
Moldy, right?
It could get moldy. So you're just air drying it a little bit. And the next step is to place it in a dry medium.
Are these expensive plants? Maybe is it easier to buy them every year, or?
They can be a little bit pricey. Sometimes they're hard to find in the nurseries. Ask your nursery owner where they keep their tropicals. Once you know how to do it,
it's not so bad, right?
It's not so bad, and becomes really, really addictive. They're like your babies, and you want to reuse them every year, and they grow into impressive sizes very, very quickly. That's what's wonderful about them. So once we have our rhizomes, we're going to want to store it in a dry medium. This is peat, one of my favorites because it's stable and very long-lasting. So once you buy a bag of this, you don't have to rebuy it every season. Just keep reusing it. Or even a more free source is using shredded newspaper. Everyone has newspaper, just shred that. Or you can use vermiculite, and we had mentioned vermiculite the last time I was here.
Yes.
It's used in potting soil, and it's expanded mica. So once you have the material of your choice,
what do you normally use? Do you have a favorite?
I always use peat because it's light and airy. It allows a balance of air and moisture around that rhizome or tuber or whatever it is you're storing. And in this case, we're talking about the rhizome. Then get a bag and place it in. Believe it or not, I like to use shoe boxes.
Okay.
Because everyone has shoe boxes, and it's not airtight. Sometimes the shoe boxes even have a little air hole on the side.
And that's okay for storing?
Yes, because you want a little bit of air to be in there. You don't want it sealed tight because it could rot in there again if it gets too wet, or if you placed it in there and it was a little damp. So place the box in the bag in the shoebox, and I like using these little grocery bags because they're light, airy, pliable, reusable. We're reusing an item again. Put your peat in there, and then get the rhizome.
All right.
And place it in there. You got it. And then you can cover it lightly with some more of the peat. And this will keep the rhizome in a state of where it's a little bit moist, but not too moist, and provide some air. And when you close this up, don't close it tightly. Kind of let the air flow around that. And another good tip is
you could label everything. This is great.
Right. The cardboard box is great for labeling it, putting in the date, the plant name, and a feature, because next spring when you come to take these out and repot them and get them to grow again, you'll be really happy. You'll be like, that's the canna with the yellow flower that I loved.
You remember it.
You remember it. And the date is helpful, too, so you can remember the next year.
Do you have many shoe boxes stored?
I do. I keep all my shoe boxes now because it's free, too. Yeah. So once you have this all done, the key part in this is you want to store it in a dark, dry, cool place. Now, you don't want it to go below 40 or above 50. What you're doing is sending that dormant tuber into a state where it's resting. In the tropics, sometimes there's dry seasons or cool seasons, and the plants lose their leaves and they go dormant underground. So a dark, dry, cool place like your cellar, your basement, maybe a sunroom that isn't heated, that type of thing. So those are the basic steps.
You also have upcoming classes. People can learn more all about this, right?
Right. In October, I have hands-on class where people can actually bring their plants because they're a little intimidated. They don't want to break their precious bulbs or tubers. And I show them exactly all the steps with all the materials, so that can be found through my blog, which is Container Crazy Cathy T.
Okay.
And also, I want to show you that this whole process can be done with elephant ears, too. Now, this is just your regular green elephant ear right here. And when you dig it out, you're going to find a big tuber like this. This looks a little bit different than the rhizome, but again, the underground storage organ.
You cut it the same way?
You cut it the same way.
Store it the same way.
Store it the same way. Air dry it for a couple days. Here's a really, really big one, so you can see how large these get. But the trick with the elephant ears is the newer varieties, like this one I showed you is Maui Magic.
All right.
Sometimes you go to dig it out. Oops, sorry.
That's okay. Kathy, you know what? We're running out of time.
Okay.
But, the name of your blog one more time.
Container Crazy Cathy T.
And of course, we'll have more information on WTNH.com. This was really fascinating.
Thank you
so much for bringing everything and showing us how to do this.
Thank you. It was fun.